Hello everyone and welcome back to another high-level match of StarCraft 2. What I've got for you today is a best-of-5 series where in game number 1 we find ourselves on the map Ancient Cistern. Spotting right here in the top right-hand corner, playing with the blue Terran SCVs from the United States of America and playing random in this particular series, we have Astrea. Since these games were played very closely to IEM Katowice to the StarCraft 2 World Championships, Astrea mentioned that he didn't want to share his very best Protoss strategies, and because of that, he is playing a random instead. Now, of course, I casted that game recently between Astrea, where he was playing Terran, going up against Neuro, and it turns out, yeah, Astrea definitely does know how to play Terran as well. Obviously, there's a chance he's going to be playing some Protoss, maybe a little bit of Zerg later as well, but at least in game number 1, he's playing a little bit of Terran once again. His opponent in the opposite corner, someone I am honestly not all too familiar with myself, so I've done like 10-15 minutes of digging to learn as much about this guy as possible. Playing here with the red Zerg drones, we are looking at ThreePoint's main hatchery. Alrighty, so ThreePoint is definitely one of those up-and-coming StarCraft 2 players. So as far as I can tell, back in 2019, 2020, 2021, he played a couple of games at a competitive level here and there, but I think in total it was maybe like a dozen or so games. However, last year in February, and ever since then, he's been competing quite a bit. And as of me making this video, he is now considered to be the rank 82 in the world overall. Recently, over the last couple months, he's been taking games off of players like, for example, Trigger, Cure, Skillless, MaxPax, and in general, the level of gameplay seems to have gone up quite a bit. Now, as of me making this video, he is currently the rank 3 on the North American Grandmaster League ladder, which is kind of interesting because as far as I can tell, he's from South Korea, but apparently he is playing on the NA ladder. Maybe he lives in North America? I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. He doesn't have a Liquipedia page just yet, so yeah, usually players do tend to get Liquipedia pages quite early as soon as someone wants to make it, I suppose. But that is essentially all of the information that I've got on ThreePoint so far. At the very least, it's one of the names I've been wanting to learn more about, and I figured, well, let's find out together exactly what ended up going down between these two players, because from what I've heard, this best of 5 is a lot of fun. Alrighty, so it's actually a command center first right here for Astrea, and that is something that ThreePoint scouts as well. He did decide to go for the very Korean-esque 6 Zerglings here in total, although normally you make that third pair of Zerglings when the Overlord, it scouts a Reaper coming across the map. He's apparently blindly making 6 links. That is quite a bit, although obviously he didn't know if he was playing up against a Terran, a Protoss, or a Zerg, so maybe he just yeah, wants to stay safe here. Anyways, those SCVs, they are going to be in a little bit of trouble. Reactor on the back of this as well. Only a single Marine available at this point. Should be able to get at least one more. Yeah. This one. Sorry about that SCV. No? Okay. No, never mind. I thought that SCV would be in a lot of trouble, but apparently not. It's going to be a, I think a 2-1-1 on the back of this right here for Astrea. So that is certainly going to allow him to put quite a bit of pressure on the opponent. In the meantime, ThreePoint has decided to take his third hatchery. By the way, I just got to mention this. Sometimes whenever I'm casting a series of StarCraft 2 or I'm like trying to, you know, record a video, I have to record the first minute of a video for like, I don't know. Sometimes it takes me forever, okay? One of the reasons why today I am struggling a little bit is because I keep calling ThreePoint 3 points. Which is one of the worst caster curses ever, okay? If I end up calling ThreePoint 3 points, excuse me, okay? It's gonna take me a little bit of time to get used to that. But sometimes, man, I'm casting today is one of those days. Sometimes whenever I'm recording a video, it just, the first minute, it's hard. But we're already 4 minutes in right now, so we're good, man. Sometimes I start stumbling over my words as well when, like, it's gone wrong, like, 5 times already. So say I'm trying to record my intro, like, 5 times, and at some point I just autopilot it, and then it gets even worse, and I'm not happy with it, or I start slurring my words, or... anyways. We made it. I successfully recorded the start of a YouTube video. Let's go. And then I don't even know if this video is gonna make it to the YouTube channel eventually. Although, yeah, like I said, from what I've heard, this particular series, it is a lot of fun. ThreePoint, not 3 points. Going 2 Evos. That is with an S at the end. Double Evolution Chamber, definitely a little bit risky if the opponent decides to go for a Marine-based push. That said, I think you're fine against a Marine opener like this one. Although, yeah, the follow-up attacks right here from Astrea will probably also include more biological units. And usually you do need a bunch of banelings against that sort of shenanigans. When you're going up against the 16 Marine opener, though, I actually do really like going double Evo myself, because you don't need baneling speed nearly as early. So I'm really liking this situation right here for 3-point so far. 3-point so far. Okay, I didn't say 3 points so far. That's not what I said. Ooh, would you look at that, actually. Astrea. Ooh, going for an Astrea special, I see. He's well known for his spicy Protoss builds, of course. So this is a CC first into a Marine drop. So he's got 25 Marines in total. 3 medevacs in total, too. That is kind of interesting. But now we've got ourselves, I think, 2 battlecruisers coming up. Since he's making a fusion core, as well he's got 2 starports right now with tech labs on them. That is going to be a very expensive group of units to make. He gets the kill right there on the 4th hatch. That's big. But it's gonna be very expensive. He needs enough resources here. Okay, he's coming up on enough money right now to start up 2 of those bad boys at once. But you look at his resource count of his, actually. He's very on point. So yeah, he realizes exactly how much he needs for an opener like this. One problem you run into with a double BC start, quote unquote, is that you actually do end up needing a 3rd command center at some point, right? Like, since the command centers are, well, about as expensive as a freaking battlecruiser, at least as far as the mineral count goes, it's very difficult to actually make one of those. Now, he starts one up right now because he's been cutting SCVs for a little while. One problem you also run into actually with battlecruiser openers is that battlecruisers, sure, they're like 400 minerals, 300 gas each, but they also have like the supply cost of like a full supply depot. So you have to take that into consideration too. It's just a very expensive opener, but of course, if Zerg doesn't know, it can deal a tremendous amount of damage. And at this point, 3-point knows nothing. That said, he did decide to go for a Spire. I actually like this quite a bit from Astrea, though. Oh, don't lose your Marines. Ooh, that was not perfect. I like this quite a bit, though, from Astrea, because normally, when you're going up against a 16 Marine drop as a Zerg player, or a triple medevac opener like this one, you don't go for any Spore Crawlers because you don't suspect any Liberators, or, for example, Banshees. I think targeting the Spire here is not a bad call. Especially if you go for 2 more BCs, which is exactly what he's doing right now. Yeah, targeting the Spire is an excellent choice. Oh, no council on that one either, so that is a little bit unfortunate here for 3-point. The Queens are going to be enough for now, but you really do need some sort of anti-air to reliably deal with this. And, well, Hydras may seem tempting, but, yeah, battlecruisers absolutely shred those. So Corruptors are certainly your go-to. Oh. What a cute little opener. The problem is, though, for Astrea, is that 3rd command center is only just now morphing in an orbital command. And, yeah, this wasn't the 3rd base of the Zerg, right? That was the 4th. He's even now going for, I guess, a secondary 4th, but some people would call this the 5th. He's already been mining 3 bases for a long time. So despite the fact that this is Astrea dealing quite a bit of damage here in the early game, he doesn't really have a lot of economy on the back of it himself either. Medevac does eventually go down. There's Battlecruiser 3 and 4. Yamato gun is not finished yet. He goes for another Battlecruiser 2. That's a lot of Queens, man. Yeah, these Queens are just buying time. The Spire at this point is done, however. 6 Corruptors are coming up. Good crisis management right here from 3-point. Other than not canceling that hatchery and not canceling that Spire, this game has been really nice for him. You can't really blame him for not going for an Overseer Scout on the back of this either, because you would normally really expect a standard follow-up from here. Anyways, good control right here on these BCs. I would love to see them jumping back home right now, because he spotted the Spire, and he knows that Corruptors aren't going to be too far behind. Get out, get out, get out, get out, get out. Really? Okay, well, I guess these 2 don't have it yet, that's why. Yeah, he tried jumping them all, but those were the 3rd and the 4th battlecruisers that came across the map, so they didn't have it off cooldown already again. Too bad right there for Astrea, but at least he got 2 of them out, and he is going for a couple more. Widow Mines added into the mix as well, but those Widow Mines are traitors. as they end up killing quite a few of the Marines there as well. Corruptor's still useful when it comes to hunting down those medevacs too. So I think ThreePoint is going to be able to stabilize quite nicely. In the meantime, third command center here has been secured by Astrea. Okay. I'm liking this position quite a bit though here for ThreePoint overall. Especially if we can get a couple more. Oh, yeah, I think he's going to get one more. There you go. So that is now 4 battle cruisers in total going down. Zerglings can now run on over towards the third base as well. And ThreePoint is playing an excellent game number 1. Excellent crisis management. Other than a couple of small slip-ups right there with those cancels, we can maybe write that up to ping, okay? I'll write it up to ping. Sure, let's go with that. We'll give it the benefit of the doubt. Other than that, excellent game here. Very nicely done. Hive coming up. Curious to see what he's going to use that for. I think Ultras are a good idea. At least Adrenal Glands is certainly not a bad choice either. So Astrea is transitioning, by the way, from Battlecruisers all the way back to Marines and Marauders, which is kind of funny. So he went Marines first, then Battlecruisers, and now back to Marines. Not usually what we see. Sadly for him, the Armory was a little bit late. So yeah, he can't actually start up the +2 upgrade yet in the Engineering Bay. And that is going to slow everything from the Terran player down. Okay. '71 workers available for the Zerg. He's been happily macroing for a while. Going +1 missile is interesting to me. Yeah, Queens, I guess. I don't think missile here is a great choice. Although he is adding on a Roach Warren as well. So this I also don't really like too much if I'm being very critical. Since we already have 1-1... No, do we already have 2-2 done? We already have 2-2 done. I feel like Roaches really fall off at this stage in the game. So transitioning to them right now doesn't really make a lot of sense in my head. I wouldn't have minded seeing a Hydra then, but a Roach Warren seems kind of funny to me. So we do have +3 coming up here as well. Together with... That is funny. You don't normally want to be stuck on... Huh. Okay. Interesting. So I've had a lot of games myself where I'm stuck on Roach Ravager, and then you kind of try to steer away from that because it loses so much value over time. Anyways, BC's here in the top left-hand corner, trying to kill a base, and they will be able to pull that off. They used, yeah, just their good old thrusters to get across the map. No tactical jump, so they're going to be able to use that to get back to safety instead. Why the Roaches? I don't understand the Roaches here at all. Especially since they're also soaking up missile upgrades in the Evo chamber. It makes no sense. I guess he wants something a little bit sustainable in his army, but Marines... I don't know. Ultras would make so much more sense here, right? Since they already benefit from the same upgrade as the Zerglings, and then you could go +3... I don't know. Yeah, so Ravagers, I guess, are quite good, but he's also going Glial Reconstitution. Maybe this is the 3-point special. Maybe I'm just not familiar with it yet. Maybe I'll be proven wrong. I don't know. I don't think that Astrea is gonna suspect it, but I mean, he's already making Marauders. So, you know. I don't think he's gonna be too bothered by that either. Anyhow. Ghost Academy comes up, and now the Ultra Cavern comes up. I don't like playing Roaches, Ravagers, and Ultras together, man. They tend to get stuck behind. Now, obviously, this is the new multiplayer balance patch, and the Ultras are a bit smaller. But yeah, this is curious to me. Anyways, let's see. Oh god, we are ready to collapse on top of the entirety of that Terran army. Blinding Clouds, dealing a bunch of damage there as well. Parasitic Bombs, sniping all of those medevacs, and that was an absolute bloodbath right there for our Terran player. Losing basically his entire army. He's got some other units at home here as well, and obviously he still has those battlecruisers cruising around, trying to get a bit of work done. Maybe he was afraid of the Terran transitioning towards mech? But even then, I don't think he necessarily wanted... No, there's no way. He saw the bio. It makes no sense. Anyhow, battlecruiser number 3 goes down. I think battlecruiser number 4, even after that little break right there from those Corruptors, that one's also going to end up going down. Actually, no. That was battlecruiser 5 and 6. I was going to say, we saw 3 and 4 already going down a while ago. That is the end of the battlecruiser era. Marines and Marauders are going to be the name of the game. And at this point, it's going to be very difficult for Astrea to get back in here. He's going up against the Zerg army that is just simply better upgraded. There are more workers supporting it, and in general, you can... Oh my god, that was actually really nicely done with the Overseer there. In general, it's incredibly difficult to come back from this position as a Terran player. He wants to transition towards Ghosts. He knows he's going to need them as well as soon as Ultras are out, but how in the world are you going to reliably pull that off? You know what? The Roaches and Ravagers do a surprisingly good job. They're really allowing those Zerglings to put in quite a bit more value. Just kind of funny. Anyways, Caustic Spray right now going down as well on that third command center. And there it is. GG is called. 3-point wins game number 1. Well, maybe Astrea can still hide some of his strategies, but in game number 2, he found himself playing Protoss. Now, despite the fact that 3-point is currently the rank 3 on the Grandmaster League ladder, Astrea is currently the rank 1 with his Protoss. So, yeah. This is going to be a little bit of an uphill battle, also because Astrea is, of course, a well-established pro. A lot of tournament experience, both online as well as offline. So, gonna favor Astrea here, but I'm curious to see what he decides to do, since he doesn't want to share his very best strategies. Then again, I would imagine his very best strategies probably means he's playing, you know, Stargate, right? He's well known to go for some crazy build orders, but I would imagine that we should still see a Stargate as soon as this cybernetic score finishes up here on the low ground. The map, by the way, is Altitude. It's the map with the funny expansion patterns that I still haven't seen a whole lot of people use. Apparently, there's a bit of a bug, by the way, that has since been fixed by Blizzard. It is a Stargate, by the way, so I think I can try and explain this. It turns out there's a little bit of a bug. Okay, so real quick. In theory, the way this is supposed to work, you kill the cooling tower collapses on top of the Zelnaga watchtower, then you kill the rocks that are left over, and then you can mine the golden minerals right over here. Right? Kind of cool. However, apparently there's a little bit of a bug that I think someone accidentally stumbled upon. If you make a command center right over here or right over here, and then you destroy the cooling tower collapses on top of the watchtower as well as the structure that's underneath. The structure that's underneath takes a bunch of damage, but the rocks, they magically disappear. So you can take some base damage on your CC, or you could take some base damage on your CC, and then, yeah, you could just, you know, repair it back up. You could do the same thing with, like, a Zerg hatchery, although obviously it's a little bit less realistic. You could do the same with, like, a fort or a gateway or anything along those lines. Apparently it was a bug. I actually thought when I first heard of it that it was a feature. But, yeah, they've, you know, gotten rid of it. I wasn't sure. Like, that's when you know you're dealing with an interesting change, as opposed when you're not entirely sure if it's a bug or a feature. Anyways, Oracle opener right here from our, random player, actually. Our Protoss, I guess, in this particular game. Hitting a small little supply block, but a second Oracle is not going to be all too far behind. 3 minutes and 47 seconds on the third Nexus. Nice and speedy. Let's see if 3-point can do anything about it. I don't think so. So I heard that he's apparently a pretty aggressive player, 3-point that is. Apparently he doesn't mind making a big group of units and sending them towards their graves on the other side of the map. We'll see. We'll see how this goes. Okay, McQueen's spreading as much creep as possible already. This is a very large map, so going for a big aggressive push is a little bit difficult. A lot of the pushes with Zerg, for example, like the ones that Dark has been doing, they involve queens, and pushing with queens on a map like this is not easy, just because, well, the map is massive. Anyways, plus the queens would have to get their feet wet right over here. You don't want that, man. Brenda dragging her belly through the water. Ugh. Couple of drones ended up going down so far, or 3 drones have gone down so far. Attempted Zorkling run by here as well, but maybe they can get a single probe. APM-wise, 3-point seems to be plenty fast. 7 workers, by the way, in total now, because, yep, there's now a few adepts joining in too. And this may be that skill discrepancy, though, because we're not supposed to see 10 drones going down at this point in the game. That is too much. I mean, obviously, it didn't come for free. He lost 2 adepts here as well, but this isn't quite what you're hoping for, especially when you did already make those defensive spore crawlers. He's now even doubling up on the spores in the natural. which I think is actually a mistake. He probably meant to cancel one of them, but that now effectively means an additional drone has been killed. Does he cancel it? Nope, he did not. The Spore Crawler of Shame. He's gonna look back at some point, and this is more so mental than anything else, but I hate it whenever this happens in my own games, man. Ooh, Oracles now also find a base, and apparently they have enough energy to prevent this one from going up. There it is. That expansion gets denied for a little bit longer. In the meantime, though, Zerglings are harassing wherever they can, and even though, yeah, the queens are gonna have to get their bellies wet, they're still gonna run across the map anyways. It's gonna take them a while, but as long as you spread tumors from, well, the third base all the way forward, this can certainly put some work in. And, well, this is exactly the build that we saw Dark playing, or maybe not quite exactly, but this is, you know, similar to a build that we've seen Dark play. +1 melee, nice and early, straight into a Ling Bane push together with a bunch of queens. Force fields are gonna have to be perfect. Good force field right over there, as I accidentally scrolled away. Didn't mean to do that. Anyways, so far 9 probes have gone down. Queen's joining in as well. Where's the oracles? Hello? No? We don't need you? I feel like using them is not a terrible idea, not gonna lie. Could definitely snipe a couple of the banelings here. That would not be a bad choice. There we go. We're gonna start sniping at least a few of those Zerg walking units over here. Anyways, no transfusions, of course. Off creep for the queens. So that is gonna make it a little bit more difficult. Guardian Shield helping out quite a bit as well. One properly positioned Photon Cannon there in the back. A couple of units now reinforcing the natural expansion instead, but without Blink even, right? He is still doing an excellent job microing those units. GG, well played is cold. And Astrea wins game number 2. Okay, Astrea once again playing a little bit of Terran. We find ourselves on the map Neo-Humanity, which is probably the least played map with the new multiplayer balance patch so far. I've been trying to find games to cast on this map, but there haven't been very many of them. Anyhow, this map is cool because it's different than everything else, but because of that, most of the players don't really enjoy playing on it all too much. Is that Astrea saying Terran? I'm not exactly sure. ThreePoint says GG. I guess this at the very least confirms that he is from Korea, despite the fact that he's apparently playing on the North American ladder, which is kind of interesting. Anyhow, this map. Okay, let's talk about it for just a moment, right? Before the game gets underway. You have a very nice to take third base over here. However, you're gonna have to mine out these golden mineral fields first. This is making it quite difficult for Zergs in particular to fast expand to a third base over in that location, because you'll probably want to have a worker going back and forth between a base over here to mine out these small mineral fields. So these mine out pretty quick, but it's still gonna take a couple of trips. Alternatively, you can take the third base over here, right next to the Supernova Men's Club. There's a third base location right over here, or a forward base that has a bunch of rocks here in the back that can be destroyed, as well as a high yield gas. Right, it's a bit. This base over here is a bit funky. There's this location over here that is not actually, like, the middle of it can't be reached by a marine, but like, it's not actually a high ground. These are just some low skyscrapers somehow. Don't really know how that works, but it's cool. It looks awesome, but it is a little bit funny. And then on top of that, if you look at this map, right, there's an attack path over here that is covered by this Xel'Naga Watchtower. The same for the one over here. There's attack paths over in that location too, but all of this is covered by these watchtowers. And there's an attack path in the middle. However, these cooling towers in the middle of the map, they share health. So, ooh, Astrea once again. Wait, I'm not entirely sure. Anyways, doesn't really matter. He's laughing about something. These cooling towers, they share health. So they share health, and when they are destroyed, they collapse on top of the slow zone. Meaning that as soon as these cooling towers are destroyed, and the rocks here right next to them are still up, so these have only 500 HP, these have 2,000. Zerglings, by the way, going across. You at that point only have those attack paths in the bottom left and in the top right, which can be covered by those Xel'Naga Watchtowers. So if you destroy the cooling towers in the middle of the map, you can see every attack incoming, other than, I guess, flying units and medevacs and all that, by covering the watchtowers instead. This seems like a really cool strategic map, but the pro gamers don't really play a lot of games on it so far, so we'll see, man. I think we're gonna get some epic games on this map at some point in the future, but so far, haven't seen all too many of them. ThreePoint is looking at this opener right now from Astrea, and he's like, wait a second, I will just make non-stop Zerglings, because that command center is going to be dead. Yeah. So now what? Oh, we have banelings on the back of it too? Fantastic. While I was blabbering on about unrelated stuff, ThreePoint here is going for a 1 queen, double hatchery all in. Astrea, he's gonna get... Yeah, no, he's gonna get destroyed. This game is pretty much over. There's a baneling showing itself. As long as he just blows up the reactor here, yep, the supply depots will be taken as well in the collateral. And because of that, I think that that is gonna be it. No? Unless he can complete the wall off somehow, but... There's no way. Okay. Well, I was hoping for a cool game on this map, but apparently that is not the case. Astrea typing a little crying emoji right there in the chat. ThreePoint says ... Oh, cool to see that Astrea actually speaks a bunch of Korean. That's awesome. Anyways, GG is called. ThreePoint wins game number 3. Ah, you know what? I think what happened is that Astrea lied about the race that he was playing in the previous game. Yeah, and then the scouting worker came in this particular match, and yeah, ThreePoint realized, okay, that's not actually what happened. Fair enough. Anyways, he ended up winning the previous game regardless, so it doesn't really matter all too much. We find ourselves in Royal Blood. We were still on ×2 speed. You know what? I'm gonna put it on ×4 speed, because we've seen this early game a million times. Couple of Zerglings coming up here. Fair enough. Sentry. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna slow it down again. This is not what we normally see. Sentries don't actually damage units, they just tickle them. In case you're unfamiliar. Double sentry? Astrea, what in the world? Okay, so 2 more gateways inside of the main base. We have another Astrea special. How many gates are you gonna make, mate? Are we gonna go 5 gateways? Is that the plan? Yeah, 5 gateways. This is the moment where I'm supposed to give you my expert analysis, but I am a little bit confused. I'm Raynor. Okay. That is one way, I guess, to kill this Overlord. I'm Clown. Oh, okay. Good. Good. Very good English. Very good conversation. Love to see it. Okay, anyways. It's gonna be 5 gateways here in total. 5 gateways allows him to make a ton of units. However, he will not be able to warp them in on the other side of the map. And, you know, he obviously doesn't have a proxy pylon or anything like that. There's no prism, no nothing. Sentries are a little bit quicker now with the new multiplayer patch. Yeah, so he's gonna wall himself in fully. I guess this would have been great if ThreePoint once again decided to go for an aggressive push. He now puts down a Roach Warren. Fair enough. Okay, yeah, so a couple more units are allowed to go through the door, which is not a Protoss technology. And instead, a pylon is gonna be added into the mix as well. We have 2 probes out on the map. Astrea faking a 3rd base. There's no way he's planning on going for a 3rd right now. He's going for a mass sentry all in. Okay, yeah, it's just gonna be sentries and zealots. Which sounds like an autobiography of MC. I would read it, but... What? This is awful. I don't like this at all. Well, I mean... Okay. If this works... It's mostly because Zerg is very confused, I believe. Roaches are coming up. The rest of the queens, a little bit confused right now. Definitely want to be pushing those towards the front. Well, you know what? The Zerglings just got picked off. Astrea, however, ended up losing the probe that was over at the 3rd base. And since he locked himself in, it's going to be difficult for him to go out. Roach Warren was positioned forward, so not entirely sure about that one. Ends up losing that one as well, and that means he won't be able to morph in a couple of Ravagers here. I guess it's working, guys. I think this build order is so bad that even Astrea's like, yep, I can show this one. No one's gonna be confused about this strategy at all. I'm certainly not planning on playing this at Katowice, Because this... Good luck trying to do this against someone like Raynor, okay? Good luck. See how it goes. Maybe it's possible. I'm not sure. I actually do like the fact, though, that he sent quite a few units. But yeah, this is where these Zerglings need to be. Just, you don't even need to send all of them, but just a bunch. To try and be annoying here. Try and force a couple of units to be warped in this location. Roach is coming up. We're gonna make a full wall off over here too. Fair enough. Two can play that game apparently. One drone is far forward. One queen is far forward as well. There's another shield battery. Lings once again coming back because one sentry was warped in at home. We need Ravagers. 3-point. Can you make a couple Ravagers? Off of one gas. Like, you can defend pretty much all the Zerg early games, right? All of the Protoss early games, that is, right? All of the aggression with, for example, Adepts and all that, off of one gas. But yeah, in this situation, you definitely do need more gas. A lot of Overlords are forward as well. I think 3-point is royally confused about what is going on in this game. There's there's two Cybernetics cores going up as well. So those two Cybernetics cores, they're gonna continuously allow him to warp in sentries and stalkers. Was he... Well, hold up. Did he just dance the Zealots? Did I just see that correctly? I think he just danced the Zealots, didn't he? I think he did. No? Yeah, he did. Okay, I guess these guys know each other. Yep, Roaches are now also joining in the dancing party. Did he forget about the option to make Ravagers? Overlords are joining in on the dance party too. You love to see it. Stop. Just stop. Stop with the force fields, Astrea. You're hurting his feelings. Gosh. Now we're gonna go for Ravagers. Finally, now that we've broken out of our base, that's where we go for Ravagers. You love to see it. Okay. That third Nexus never came, right? So it's been 2-base Protoss economy for a long time, which is more than Zerg has had, I guess, worker-wise anyways. But he's gonna need another base here eventually. I would imagine so anyways. I don't know. Astrea has been, yeah, known to play a variety of strats. He could be bringing a probe down to the low ground as well with this prism, but not doing so. Lair is coming up at this point. You're mostly concerned, I guess, for, I don't know, suddenly a bunch of Mutas showing up or a Nidus Worm or something along those lines. So knowing that you can indeed just continuously fly those prisms around freely should make things pretty straightforward here for Astrea, who's going to be rolling the balls. That's the plan, man. We're going to be bowling the Zerg mineral lines. Yep. This is excellent. Since there's no Spore Crawlers or anything like that, Queens aren't much of a threat, unless there's many of them together. You can really quite easily just fly around with this prism and continuously deal damage. Still no third Nexus, though. Yeah, one pylon here is eventually gonna get killed. This is now gonna allow Astrea a very strange way of getting out of his base. I think even Archons could fit over there, but this is now a pretty scary army, though, for Protoss. These sentries obviously have been soaking up a ton of energy. There's no Twilight Council, so no upgrades for these units at all, but they can still deal quite a bit of damage. Okay. We're just hitting whatever we can. A little bit of energy gone out of those queens. Not a bad situation at all. The rest of the Protoss army, though... Oh, we're gonna go for the forward expansion, because I guess there's an Overlord over there. Keeping the Protoss player, or the Zerg player rather, on his toes here is certainly not a bad choice. But it is a little bit confusing. Look at this army here. Look at the army movement. We're creating a strange sandwich as we're going on over towards the Zerg's natural. Apparently, even fighting with half the units is enough? I am not convinced. Astrea, though, force fields his opponent, this time around from the other side. In the meantime, the rest of the Protoss army is engaging the newly acquired third. Queens are going to be able to start working her on the prism. Oh no, that disruptor! Oh, huge hit! Yeah, lethal balls here. That is very, very dangerous. And at this point, despite this very, very strange opener here from Astrea, I think he's done quite a bit of damage already. There we go. Another big disruptor hit. The weird part is, though, that he just gave up half his army. So maybe I'm overestimating it a little bit. Yeah, you know what? If he had just had all of his units in one big ball, I think it would have worked out really nicely for him. But now suddenly things are looking a little bit weird. You know what? 3Point actually just going in for the counterattack. That third Nexus is going to be in a lot of trouble since it's so far forward. These units march straight over there. Another Purification Nova. Getting some work in. Nexus gets cancelled. Okay. Well, those disruptor hits are still insane, though. Putting in so much work. The backup Cybercore putting in quite a bit of value as well, as it's been a punching bag for from the Zerg for a long time. Okay. The third attempt. The 3 points is apparently what he's aiming for. Third attempt right here on the third Nexus. Or hatchery. We now have 2 prisms. And 3 balls. Let's see. Astrea. Yeah, just trying to come out of left field, I guess. Oh, there you go. This is a little bit confusing, though. Like, you don't really... you don't really expect this sort of play here. So it's really difficult to play against this. Do you... you hate me? Alright, 3Point. This is love. What is love? This is love. Me too. Ange. I love it whenever the Koreans speak English, man. It's so funny. I also like it whenever the non-Koreans, right, that speak perfect English, adjust their English a little bit to make it a little easier to understand. But it just sounds really cute. Oh god. What? What? Why did we just blow up a couple of our own units there to kill a few Zerglings? The Disruptor Novas, though, are insane, man. Yeah, so much damage coming out of them. This isn't even the ones inside of the prism. Battery overcharge now, trying to keep as much of this alive as well. There come more of them out of the plane. Okay, well, that wasn't quite ideal, I guess, for Astrea, but he's still dealing so much damage. My god. Oh, this is starting to look like one of my ladder games now. I'm not very good against Disruptors. I mean, 11 Disruptors did go down in this game, but they're not super expensive units. Okay. Well, at least 3Point has now secured a new base. The problem is, Astrea has as well. +2 melee is finishing up for the Zerg. Sentry here, part of the wall off still. New pylon is finally starting up to power at least one of the gateways here again. This one, I think, was previously unpowered as well, but a newly made pylon not in range of the second one, although, feels like it should be. Anyhow, since there's nothing to deal with these disruptors, I am a little bit concerned here for 3Point. I don't see what he's gonna do. Like, Zerglings can be quite good, especially with +2 melee, I guess, but ideally you get yourself something to get rid of these prisms. Preferably a couple of Vipers would be awesome, but off of an economy this small... yeah, you'll end up trying to bow your own units, I guess. Okay, here comes the Stalker Ball. More Disruptors, heading across the map as well. This one just sort of rolling around, fair enough. The Zerglings are well upgraded. Protoss doesn't have any upgrades on any of his units. Other than, I guess, the Warp Gate research, but... you know what? This is actually... okay, I think this is still manageable for 3Point, though. His upgrades are actually pretty sick. He just needs a lot of Ravagers. Oh, God. Yeah. Okay, no, he's had enough. He apparently just wants to leave this game. And that brings us to the final game in his Best-of-5 series. And Astrea, sadly no Zerg today. He once again manages to get a bit of Protoss. 3Point once again calling out the lies. Lie. Real? I love the pause in between. That was so funny. Lie? Real? Protoss probe now is heading across the map. 3Point. I never lie. Always real. There it is. Not even literally earlier on in this series. It's a very quick spawning pool right here from 3Point, so I guess it doesn't really matter all too much. Could be a little bit dangerous, though, especially if you go for an early pool against someone like, well, a Terran player, right? That could be a problem. Astrea right now goes into the main base, and he scouts the pool. Early spawning pools. Early spawning pools can be quite nice if you're going up against a Protoss player who's not amongst the very best in the world. The problem with guys like Astrea is that they will micro against this perfectly. Yeah, he will know exactly what to do against an early spawning pool. And apparently it starts with another pylon. I don't think this is a great idea to do at this level of play. But at least we're gonna try. This is funny to me, though. Zealot coming up. Astrea posts... Oh, he's gonna pull the boys as well. I think Astrea just spotted it. As he sees all of the drones heading out. 3Points type something, which I can only imagine is charge! As we are apparently ready to go completely all in. Second Zealot coming up. Astrea completes the wall off over here. Normally the idea is to try and mineral walk those drones through the Zealot. But we're just gonna stack them up over here instead. You can do a little bit of drone drilling. That is kind of cool, so you can stack them together and actually have them all fire at once. It actually deals a lot of damage. If you can finish off all those pylons, the game is gonna look decent. One more Zealot popped out, though, and I've got a feeling that that is a very critical Zealot. Anyways, shield batteries in the main base. There's already one Zealot over here as well. Obviously, overcharge is always an option. Lynx right now going into the main base too. There's still one probe here. I wouldn't mind seeing that one getting sniped, so there's not going to be a pylon there repowering those structures. But anyways, battery number uno in a little bit of trouble. The other shield battery, however, is going to help out the first, so that is annoying. There we go. Mineral walking through it. Battery overcharge is an option here. I guess he doesn't even really need it. I don't think this is going to be great. Unless he can kill the Nexus. But that would be kind of crazy. I mean, it's still a lot of firepower in the Zerg army, though. 15 Zerglings, 2 Zealots. Recoil over here as well. Oh, okay. We get 1 Zealot back. Fair enough. Yeah, those batteries are just amazing here. Okay, probes are pulled for just a moment. New pylon over there available, too. Wouldn't mind seeing another one of those Zealots coming up. But anyways, here's the micro, the drone drilling that we've been looking for. Battery overcharge wouldn't be bad. Yeah, there we go. Battery overcharge does get used. And now suddenly I think you end up making the walk of shame. Astrea gives his opponent 2 little characters over here. And I think that is him signaling to his opponent that it is time to get out. You can keep running around over here, man. But this Protoss army is only getting better. Whereas your army, I mean, you're microing 1 drone back and forth on the other side of the map, I guess, so that's nice. Unless you can kill the Nexus. If he can kill the Nexus, that would be amazing. But unless he kills the Nexus, I don't think he can win the game. Okay, there's even an Adept available now, too. That 1 probe in the natural. Repowering those structures there. A little bit of Zergling dancing, I think, to close all of this out, because indeed it is going to be Astrea who obtains the victory. There's even a Stargate out at this point, too. Ooh, they did a little flip over there. That's awesome. But anyways, GG is called as our American hero, Astrea, ends up obtaining the victory.